The call came during my lunch break, right as I was reviewing the projections for my biggest client's portfolio. Mom's number flashing on my screen never meant good news. It meant Gunnar needed something. Again. I'm Phoebe, and I've spent 34 years being the responsible one, the reliable one, the one who's supposed to drop everything when golden boy baby brother screws up, which, as my ringing phone suggested, was exactly what was happening. Phoebe, honey, we need you to come over tonight. It's an emergency. Mom's voice had that familiar tremor, the one that meant she was about to ask for money. What did he do this time? Don't be like that. Your brother, he's in a difficult situation. We're having dinner at 6. You need to be here. I glanced at my calendar, at the fertility clinic consultation I'd scheduled for that evening. The appointment I'd waited 3 months for. Mom, I have plans. Cancel them. This is family. Click. The fertility clinic was understanding about the last-minute cancellation. They only charged me half the consultation fee. Another $250 down the drain because of Gunnar. I added it to my mental tally. Walking into my parents' house that evening felt like stepping into a funeral. Mum's eyes were red-rimmed. Dad sat in his recliner, staring at nothing. And there was Gunnar, slumped at the dining room table, looking appropriately devastated. "Hey, sis," his voice cracked, always the performer. "What's the damage?" I asked, setting my purse down. Mom burst into tears. "He owes $60,000. The number hit me like a physical blow. To who? "Some guys," Gunnar mumbled, "from poker nights. Online stuff too. They're not exactly legitimate businessmen." "You mean loan sharks?" I sat down heavily. Jesus Christ, Gunnar. "Language!" Mom snapped, then immediately softened her tone. "Honey, we know it's a lot to ask, but you're the only one who can help. You're so successful with your financial work. And your brother, he's trying so hard to find his path." I looked at Gunnar, still in his designer clothes, his expensive watch glinting. That watch could cover at least $5,000. "It was a gift from Riley," he protested. "Your savings," Dad finally spoke. "You've always been good with money. Family helps family." "My savings are for IVF," I said quietly. "I've been planning this for years." Mom waved her hand dismissively. "You can always save up again. Your brother's life could be in danger." Gunnar lifted his head, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry, Phoebe. I messed up. I know I messed up. But these guys, they're serious. They showed up at my work yesterday." I watched him cry, remembering all the times before, the college tuition I'd helped with, the down payment for his first apartment, the temporary loans that were never repaid. Each time he'd cried just like this. Each time I'd given in. "Okay," I said finally. "I'll help." The relief in the room was palpable. Mom rushed to hug me, Dad smiled, and Gunnar wiped his eyes. "But," I continued, "this time we're doing it my way." "What do you mean?" Mom's arms loosened around me. I pulled out my phone and dialed. "Hey, Kendra, remember that contract we discussed? Draw it up. I'll be there first thing tomorrow." "Contract?" Gunnar's voice had lost its tremor. "What contract?" I stood up, gathering my things. "If I'm giving you $60,000, we're making it official, legal, binding." "That's ridiculous," Mom protested. "We're family." "Exactly, and family should have no problem putting things in writing." I headed for the door, then turned back. "Oh, and Gunnar, make sure that Mustang of yours is running well. You'll need it." "My car? What does my car have to do with anything?" I smiled, and for the first time in years, I felt something other than resignation. "You'll find out tomorrow. After all, every loan needs collateral." The look of uncertainty that flashed across his face was worth every penny I was about to lend him. As I walked to my car, I could hear Mom's voice rising in protest. But for once, I didn't turn back. I had a lawyer to meet and a contract to draft. Family helps family, they always said. But this time, help would come with terms and conditions. "This is insane," Gunnar said, staring at the contract spread across Kendra's polished conference table. "You can't be serious." "Every word is serious," I replied, sliding him a pen. $60,000, 3 months to repay, the Mustang as collateral. "It's just a car," Mom interjected from her seat beside him. She hadn't been invited, but showed up anyway. "Phoebe, you're being dramatic." Kendra, my best friend and now lawyer, cleared her throat. "Mrs. Hanson, this is a standard loan agreement. Given the amount involved, collateral is more than reasonable." "But we're family!" Mom's voice rose an octave, which is exactly why everything should be clear and documented. I kept my voice level. "Sign it, Gunnar, or find the money somewhere else." He laughed, but it was hollow. "Where else am I supposed to get it? You know these guys won't wait." "Then sign." His hand shook slightly as he picked up the pen. I watched him skim the document, his eyes widening at certain parts. 3 months isn't very long. Neither is my patience, I said. "You make 6 figures at your job. 3 months is generous. But with my other expenses, like your Vegas trips," I cut in, "your new gaming setup, that collection of limited edition sneakers." Mom stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. "You're being cruel, Phoebe. Your brother is in trouble, and you're treating him like a criminal." "No," Kendra interrupted. "She's treating him like an adult borrower, which is exactly what he is." I closed my eyes briefly, remembering the day 5 years ago when Gunnar had called about his first apartment. I'd been about to put a down payment on my own place, but his voice had been desperate. "Just until I get my bonus," he'd promised. That money never came back to me. 2 years later, it was his student loans threatening to default, another chunk of my savings gone. Then his emergency appendectomy bills, because he'd let his insurance lapse. Each time, I'd given without conditions. Each time, I'd pushed my own dreams further away. "Sign it," I said again, opening my eyes. "Or walk away." Gunnar looked at Mom, then back at me. Slowly, he began signing each page. When he reached the final signature line, he paused. "You wouldn't really take my car." "Try me." He signed. Kendra notarized the document efficiently, making copies for everyone. "Congratulations," she said dryly. "You now have a legally binding loan agreement." "I can't believe you're doing this to your own brother," Mom said, gathering her designer purse. "What happened to you, Phoebe? You used to be such a sweet girl." "I grew up," I replied. "Maybe it's time Gunnar did too." After they left, Kendra poured us each a glass of wine. "You okay?" "They think I'm bluffing," I said, taking a long sip. "They all think this is just me being dramatic." "Their mistake." Kendra raised her glass. "To consequences." Later that night, my phone buzzed with a text from Mum. "Your father and I are very disappointed in your behavior today. This legal nonsense is embarrassing the whole family. What will people think?" I typed back. "They'll think Gunnar finally has to face responsibility for his actions." The response came quickly. "You're being vindictive. He's your brother. He needs support, not judgment." I set my phone down without responding and walked to my home office. Opening my filing cabinet, I pulled out a folder labeled Future. Inside were brochures from fertility clinics, information about IVF procedures, and a carefully crafted financial plan. Years of work and saving, all potentially derailed because my brother couldn't stay away from poker tables. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Gunnar. "Hey sis, about that 3-month deadline. Any chance we could make it 6? Just to be safe?" I replied with a single word. "No." Then I blocked both his and Mom's numbers for the night. I needed sleep, and tomorrow I had an early meeting with a new client. Unlike some people, I had a reputation for reliability to maintain. As I got ready for bed, I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Mum was right about one thing. I had changed. The sweet, accommodating girl who would do anything for family peace was gone. In her place stood someone who finally understood that real love didn't require constant sacrifice. The contract wasn't just about money, it was about breaking a pattern that had defined my entire adult life. For once, Gunnar would face real consequences for his actions, and if that made me the bad guy in their eyes, so be it. I slept better that night than I had in years. Sunday family dinner was a tradition I usually dreaded, but today I was actually looking forward to it. 2 weeks had passed since the contract signing, and I was curious to see how Gunnar was handling his financial restructuring. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up. "Check this out," Gunnar was saying as I walked in, waving his phone at our parents. "Top-of-the-line gaming PC, curved monitor, the works. Got an amazing deal." Mom beamed. "That's wonderful, honey. You deserve something nice after all that stress." I set my contribution to dinner, a store-bought pie, on the counter with deliberate care. Interesting purchase choice, given your current situation. "Oh, don't start," Mom said, stirring something on the stove. "He got a great price." "Any price is too high when you owe $60,000. I poured myself a generous glass of wine, plus interest. Gunnar's girlfriend Riley appeared from the living room, her face tight with worry. She pulled him aside, whispering urgently. I caught fragments. Sean called again, and, getting impatient. My phone buzzed. Kendra's text read, "Heads up, someone tried to file a backdated payment confirmation for your brother's loan. Amateur hour forgery. Want me to look into it?" "Please do," I typed back. Dad wandered in, newspaper in hand. "Everything okay? You look tense, Phoebe." "Just wondering about priorities," I said loudly enough for Gunnar to hear. "Like buying gaming equipment instead of paying debts." "I've got it handled," Gunnar snapped. "Stop monitoring my spending like some psycho hall monitor." Riley touched his arm. "Maybe we should go." "No," Mom interrupted. "Everyone sit down. I made pot roast, Gunnar's favorite. Let's have a nice family dinner." We sat. We ate. The tension was thick enough to cut with the fancy serving knife Mom only used for Sunday dinners. Every time Gunnar opened his mouth, it was to brag about something new he'd bought or was planning to buy. Each time, Mom and Dad nodded approvingly while I took another sip of wine. My phone rang. Unknown number. I stepped outside to answer it. "This Phoebe?" A man's voice, rough and unfamiliar. "Who's asking?" "Friend of your brother's. Name's Sean. Heard you're helping him with some financial issues." My hand tightened on the phone. "That's between me and my brother." "See, that's where you're wrong. Your brother made promises to me first. That car of his? Already promised as collateral. Months ago. Not legally." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You think I care about legal? Tell your brother he's got 2 weeks. And tell him that fancy car better stay exactly where it is." The line went dead. I stood there, processing. So Gunnar had tried to use the Mustang as collateral twice. Typical. Back inside, Riley was leaving in a hurry, mascara smudged. Gunnar watched her go with an expression I couldn't read. "Everything okay?" I asked innocently. "Mind your own business," he muttered. After dinner, I drove past Gunnar's apartment complex. The Mustang wasn't in its usual spot. I circled the block twice before finding it, hidden behind the building near the dumpsters. My phone buzzed again. "Kendra. Found out who tried to forge the payment docs. IP address traces back to your brother's home network. Want to press charges?" "Not yet," I replied. Let's wait. Another text came through, this one from Riley. We need to talk, not at your parents' house. It's important. I thought about Sean's call, about the hidden Mustang, about Riley's tearful exit. All the pieces were there, forming a picture of desperation. Gunnar was scrambling, and scrambling people make mistakes. I drove home, making a mental note to call Desmond, the repo man Kendra had recommended, just to put him on standby. 2 more months remained on the loan term, but something told me we wouldn't make it that long. That night, I dreamed of the day Gunnar got the Mustang. Dad had helped him restore it, spending countless weekends working on it together. I'd asked once if Dad would help me learn about cars too. This is more of a father-son thing, he'd said, not even looking up from the engine. I woke up to another text from Riley. Please, it's getting dangerous. Tomorrow, I wrote back. Coffee shop on 5th, 8 a.m. Whatever she had to say, I had a feeling it would justify every precaution I'd taken with that contract. Gunnar wasn't just playing games anymore. He was playing with fire. And this time, I wouldn't be the one getting burned. The deadline arrived with the same silent treatment I'd been getting for weeks. No payment, no explanation, not even a request for extension. Just radio silence from Gunnar. I gave him a week of grace, sending 1 text each day. Payment due. Need to discuss options. Call me. Last chance before consequences. Gunnar? Really doing this? Your choice? Nothing. On day 8, I called Desmond. His voice was gruff but professional. Got the paperwork ready? All legal and notarized, I said, fingers tracing the contract on my desk. He's had multiple warnings. Sunday dinner, you said? Yes, 6 p.m. sharp. Mom's very particular about timing. I'll be there at 6:15. Give everyone time to settle in. I hung up and opened my email to find a message from Kendra with urgent in the subject line. Attached were scanned documents, crude attempts at forged payment receipts, all traced back to Gunnar's IP address. 3 different versions, each more desperate than the last. Want to add fraud charges? Kendra asked in her message. Hold that card, I replied. Let's see how Sunday plays out. My phone lit up with Mom's number. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Phoebe, darling. Her voice dripped honey. About Sunday dinner. I'll be there. Oh, good. It's just, Gunnar mentioned you two had some sort of disagreement about money. I laughed. Did he tell you the deadline passed? That he hasn't paid a cent? Well, times are tight for everyone. Your father and I thought maybe we could discuss a more reasonable arrangement, as a family. The arrangement was reasonable. The contract was clear. Sunday will be interesting. What does that mean? Her voice sharpened. It means I'm bringing dessert. Apple pie, okay? I hung up before she could respond and called Riley. She answered on the first ring. Is it happening? She asked. Sunday. You should stay away. Trust me, I will. He's been different. Scary different. I thought about our coffee shop meeting, how Riley's hands shook as she described Gunnar's late-night calls to shady contacts, his explosive anger, the mounting pressure from Sean and his crew. He tried to forge payment documents, I told her. Jesus, add it to the list. Yesterday he tried to sell the Mustang to some guy on Facebook. Good thing you filed that lien. A text came through from Desmond. Need the car's exact location. I forwarded him the tracking device data I'd had installed during the Grace Week. The Mustang was at a strip mall across town. Another hiding attempt. Won't matter, Desmond texted back. Got the warrant, GPS coordinates. Sunday's gonna be fun. The rest of the week crawled by. I kept my routines, client meetings, gym sessions, evening calls with Kendra to review the legal framework one last time. Everything had to be perfect. Saturday night, Mum tried again. Please, honey, Can't we discuss this privately? Before tomorrow? Nothing to discuss. Contract was clear. He's your brother. Exactly. And brothers should keep their word. Sunday morning, I woke up early and drove past Gunner's apartment. The Mustang was back in its usual spot, probably part of some plan to make everything look normal for dinner. I spent the afternoon preparing myself, choosing a simple black dress and comfortable shoes. This would be a performance after all. Might as well dress the part. At 5:55 p.m., I pulled into my parents' driveway. Mum's pot roast smell wafted from the kitchen. Dad's football game blared from the living room. Gunner's Mustang gleamed in the evening light, freshly washed. I checked my phone one last time. Desmond, 20 minutes out. Kendra, documents ready? Police on standby if needed. Riley, good luck. Stay safe. Inside, Gunner was holding court, telling some story about a work presentation. He faltered slightly when he saw me, but recovered quickly. Hey sis, want to hear about this deal I just landed? I set my purse down and smiled. Sure, tell me everything about your financial successes. Mom shot me a warning look. Dad suddenly became very interested in his mashed potatoes. Actually, Gunner said, his voice tight, maybe we should talk about our little arrangement. I checked my watch. 6:12 p.m. Let's talk, I said, sitting down. You have about 3 minutes to make this very interesting. The sound of a heavy diesel engine rumbled in the distance. Right on schedule. The diesel engine grew louder. Gunner's face went from confident to concerned in the space of a heartbeat. What's that sound? He asked. I took a slow sip of wine. Karma, arriving right on schedule. Mom stood up to peer out the window. Her gasp could have shattered crystal. There's a tow truck pulling up. Phoebe, what have you done? Nothing yet. I set my glass down carefully. Gunner did this to himself. The doorbell rang. Nobody moved. I'll get it, I said, standing up. Since this is my show. Desmond filled the doorframe, clipboard in hand. Professional. Efficient. Behind him, neighbors were already gathering on their porches to watch the drama unfold. Evening, ma'am. Here for the vehicle repossession. You can't do this! Gunner shot up from his chair, face red. That's my car! Actually, I said, taking the clipboard from Desmond, it's collateral for an unpaid debt, as clearly stated in the contract you signed. Dad finally spoke up. Phoebe, please, we can work something out. The time for working things out was 3 months ago, or last week, or yesterday. I turned to Desmond. The car's right there. Keys should be on the hook by the door. Gunner lunged for the key hook, but I was faster. Years of being the responsible one had taught me to anticipate his moves. Give them to me, he shouted. Or what? I met his eyes. You'll forge more documents? Try to sell a car that legally can't be sold? Call Sean again? Mom gasped. Who's Sean? Just one of the many people Gunner tried to scam. I handed the keys to Desmond, along with his own sister. You vindictive bitch, Gunner spat. You've been planning this all along. No, I said calmly. I gave you every chance. 3 months of chances. 7 extra days of chances. All you had to do was pay back the money you borrowed. Instead, you bought gaming equipment, went to Vegas, tried to hide the car, tried to forge payments. I'm calling the police, Mom announced, reaching for her phone. Go ahead, I said. The repo order is legal. The contract is legal. Everything is documented, witnessed, and notarized. Or would you rather explain to them about Gunner's gambling debts, his fraud attempts, his deals with Sean? The room went silent except for the sound of Desmond hooking up the Mustang outside. You don't understand what you're doing, Mom tried again, tears streaming. This car, it's special. Your father and brother restored it together. I remember. I turned to Dad. Just like I remember asking to help, being told it was a father-son thing. Well, guess what? Now it's a legal thing. You're destroying this family, Mom sobbed. Something inside me snapped. I'm destroying the family. Me? Where was this concern for family when you drained my college fund for Gunner's gambling debts? When you guilted me into giving up my house down payment for his temporary emergency? When you dismissed my IVF plans because precious Gunner needed another bailout? That was different, Mom protested weakly. You're right. It was different. Because back then, I was stupid enough to believe family meant something. That sacrifice went both ways. That someday, someone would put me first. The sound of chains clinking outside punctuated my words. But you know what I learned? Family isn't about enabling destruction. It's not about one person always giving while others take. And it's definitely not about protecting someone from the consequences of their own choices. Gunner charged toward the door. I stepped aside, letting him run out to where Desmond was finishing up with the Mustang. You can't take my car! I'll sue! With what lawyer? I asked, following him out. With what money? The neighbors weren't even pretending not to watch anymore. Some had their phones out, recording. Vehicles secured, Desmond announced. Sign here to confirm the repossession. I signed with a steady hand while Gunner screamed obscenities and Mom cried on the front porch. Dad just stood there, silent as always. The Mustang looked beautiful in the evening light as it was towed away. Years of memories, of unequal treatment, of forced sacrifices, rolling down the street on the back of a flatbed. This isn't over, Gunner threatened, his voice low and dangerous. You're right, I agreed, gathering my purse. It's just the beginning. Ask Sean about the documentation I have on your other deals. Ask Riley about the recordings she kept. Ask yourself why you thought you'd never face consequences. I walked to my car, head high, leaving chaos in my wake. Behind me, I heard Mom wail about her ruined Sunday dinner. For once, I didn't feel guilty at all. The emails started flooding in the next morning. Mom had been busy, crafting a detailed narrative about my mental breakdown and sending it to every relative we had. Aunt Susan called to tell me I needed Jesus. Cousin Rachel suggested therapy. Uncle Mike just sent a disappointed face emoji. I forwarded each message to a special folder labeled Flying Monkeys and went about my day. You holding up okay? Kendra asked over lunch. Better than expected. I picked at my salad. Though Mom's smear campaign is impressive. Apparently, I'm now a money-obsessed sociopath who's jealous of her brother's success. Success at what? Professional gambling? My phone buzzed. Riley's name flashed on the screen. Hey, I answered. Everything okay? No. Her voice was shaky. Gunner's been drinking since yesterday. He told Sean you stole the car, said you forced him to sign papers. Sean's really angry. Let him be angry. Everything was legal. Legal doesn't matter to guys like Sean, Riley's voice cracked. Look, I'm leaving town for a while. You should be careful too. After she hung up, Kendra leaned forward. Want me to file for a restraining order? Not yet. Let's see. A shadow fell across our table. I looked up to find a man in an expensive suit standing there, his smile sharp as a razor. Mind if I join you, ladies? Without waiting for an answer, he sat down. Everything about him radiated controlled menace. Sean, I presume? I kept my voice steady. Smart girl. He adjusted his cufflinks. Your brother's been telling interesting stories about you. I'm sure he has. I met his gaze. But we both know Gunner's stories aren't always truthful. True. Sean's smile didn't waver. Like when he promised me that pretty Mustang as collateral. Imagine my surprise when I learned someone else had a legal claim to it. Kendra started to speak, but I touched her arm. I have all the documentation. The lien. The contract. The attempted fraud evidence. Would you like to see? Already did my homework. He leaned back. You're thorough. I respect that. But this puts me in an awkward position. Your brother still owes me money. That's between you and him. Is it? His voice hardened. Because taking my collateral makes it feel like my business is your business now. I pulled out my phone, opened a file, and slid it across the table. These are screenshots of every conversation Gunnar had about your operation. Dates, names, dollar amounts. Riley was very helpful. The smile vanished from Sean's face. I'm not threatening you, I continued. I'm explaining why it's in everyone's best interest to keep this professional. You lost the Mustang because Gunnar lied. Take it up with him. Sean studied me for a long moment, then stood up. Interesting family dynamic you've got. Tell Riley I said hi when she comes out of hiding. After he left, Kendra let out a breath. Okay, we're definitely filing that restraining order now. Back at my apartment, I found 3 voicemails from Mum, each more hysterical than the last. The final one caught my attention. Your father's not eating. He's so upset about the car. All those memories just gone. I hope you're happy with yourself. I deleted them all and poured a glass of wine. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across my living room. In the quiet, I could finally process the weight of what I'd done. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. The car was just the beginning. Sleep tight, sis. I forwarded it to Kendra, then called the police to file a report. The officer sounded bored as he took down the details. Family disputes are complicated, he said, but keep documenting everything. Later that night, my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. It was Dad, alone. Can I come in? He asked when I opened the door. I stepped aside. He looked older than I'd ever seen him. Your mother doesn't know I'm here, he said, sitting heavily on my couch. She's not handling this well. And how are you handling it? He stared at his hands. I kept all the receipts, from the car restoration, every part we bought, every tool. Gunnar, he didn't pay for any of it. I did, even when he promised to split the costs. Why are you telling me this? Because you were right, about everything. And I'm sorry I never said anything before. I didn't respond. Years of silence couldn't be fixed with one late-night confession. Be careful, he said, standing to leave. Your brother, he's not the person we pretended he was. After he left, I double-checked my locks and security system. Tomorrow, I'd call about upgrading everything. Tonight, I just needed to breathe. The war wasn't over, but at least now everyone knew which side they were on. The pounding on my door started at 2 a.m., 3 weeks after the Mustang incident. I didn't need to check the camera to know who it was. Open up, Phoebe. Gunnar's voice was slurred, desperate. We need to talk. I pressed the intercom button. Leave, or I'm calling the police. Call them! I don't care anymore! Something crashed against my door. You ruined everything. My car, my job, my life. I already had 911 dialed, finger hovering over the call button. Riley left me. Did you know that? She's not answering my calls. Sean's guys are following me. I had to quit my job because everyone saw the video of the repo. It's all over social media. Your choices led to this, I said firmly. Not me. Choices? He laughed, bitter and broken. Like you chose to be such a perfect daughter? Always saving, always planning, always judging me. Another crash. I hit the call button. You think you're better than me? At least I know how to live? What do you have? An empty apartment and a bunch of money you're wasting on trying to have a baby by yourself? My hand tightened on the intercom. The police are on their way. Good, let them come. I'll tell them how you set me up, how you forced me to sign that contract, how you... He cut off suddenly. Through the door camera, I watched him stumble backward, hands raised. 2 police officers approached, flashlights drawn. Sir, step away from the door. That's my sister in there! Gunnar's voice cracked. She stole my car. She ruined my life. Sir, we have a restraining order on file. You need to come with us. I watched through the peephole as they cuffed him, as he alternated between crying and threatening me. Only when their car pulled away did I sink to the floor, shaking. My phone lit up with texts. Mom, Gunnar just got arrested. How could you? Dad, are you safe? Kendra, police called. I'm coming over. Riley, is he gone? I answered only Kendra and Riley. Some bridges needed to stay burned. Morning brought a different kind of surprise. An envelope taped to my door, my name written in Riley's familiar scrawl. Inside was an ultrasound photo and a note. I'm 8 weeks along. Hadn't told him yet. Now I never will. Thought you should know you're going to be an aunt. I'm moving back home to Portland. Don't tell him where I've gone. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the grainy image while waiting for Kendra to arrive. My brother's child? My niece or nephew? Another piece of collateral damage in this mess. We need to talk about pressing charges, Kendra said when she arrived, eyeing the new dents in my door. Last night crossed a line. He's facing other charges anyway. Drunk and disorderly. Violating the restraining order. That's not enough. She pulled out her laptop. Look at this. She showed me security footage from my building's garage. Gunnar, clearly intoxicated, slashing my car tires 2 hours before his dramatic doorstep performance. He's escalating, she said quietly. This isn't just about the Mustang anymore. Was it ever? I picked up the ultrasound photo. Riley's pregnant. Kendra's eyes widened. Does he know? No, she's leaving town. I handed her the note. She's scared of him. Everyone is. Including you. I thought about it. No, I'm not scared. I'm just tired. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. A photo of me through my apartment window, clearly taken from the building across the street. Below it, a message. Sean says hello. Kendra read it over my shoulder and immediately started typing on her laptop. That's it. We're getting you out of here. My firm has a corporate apartment downtown. Doorman, security, the works. I can't hide forever. No, but you can be smart. Let the police handle Gunnar. Let me handle the legal side. You focus on staying safe and... She gestured at the fertility clinic brochures still on my counter. Living your life. I packed a bag while Kendra made calls. As we left, another text came through, this time from Dad. Found Gunnar's journals in the garage. Things he wrote. Plans he made. You're right to be careful. I should have seen it sooner. I'm sorry. In the elevator, Kendra squeezed my hand. You know what the hardest part of revenge is? What? Knowing when to stop, when to let karma take over. I looked at the ultrasound photo one more time before tucking it away. Karma had already started its work. Now I just had to survive the fallout. The fertility clinic waiting room was quiet, except for the gentle hum of the air conditioning. I scrolled through my emails, pausing at one from Riley with a new ultrasound photo attached. She was having a girl. Ms. Phoebe, the nurse called. Dr. Andrews is ready for you. As I stood, my phone buzzed with a news alert. I nearly dropped it when I saw the headline. Local man arrested in multi-state gambling ring. Below was Gunnar's mugshot, alongside Sean's. Everything okay? The nurse asked. Better than okay, I replied, following her to the consultation room. Dr. Andrews greeted me with a warm smile. I've reviewed your financial documentation. The IVF funding is all in order. We can start the process whenever you're ready. The Mustang sold quickly, I said. Classic cars have quite a market. Speaking of which, she slid a newspaper across her desk. Isn't this your brother? I skimmed the article. The FBI had been watching Sean's operation for months. Gunnar's desperate attempts to save himself had apparently involved wearing a wire, trying to cut a deal. But he'd played both sides too long, and now, Everyone was going down. My phone lit up with a text from Kendra. Turn on the news. Now. Excuse me, I said to Dr. Andrews. Could we? She turned on the small TV in her office. The local news showed police leading people out of an office building. The reporter's voice was clear and professional. Among those arrested was Margaret Hanson, charged with helping launder money through her charity organization. Her husband, Frank Hanson, is cooperating with authorities. I switched off the TV. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Should we reschedule? Dr. Andrews asked gently. No. I sat straighter. My family's drama doesn't control my life anymore. Let's talk about next steps. Later, leaving the clinic with my treatment schedule in hand, I found Dad waiting by my car. How did you know I'd be here? Kendra told me. He looked exhausted. I'm testifying against your mother and brother tomorrow. The FBI found evidence going back years. The charity, the gambling. It was all connected. Did you know? Not everything. Enough to feel guilty. Not enough to stop it. He pulled a leather-bound journal from his jacket. I want you to have this. I've been writing in it since you kids were young. I opened it randomly. Phoebe got straight A's again. Gunnar failed math. Margaret says I'm too hard on him, too proud of her. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm ruining him with expectations he can't meet. There's more, Dad said quietly. About the car, the money, everything I saw but never stopped. I was a coward. Why give this to me now? Because you were strong enough to do what I couldn't. Set boundaries, demand accountability, risk being the villain in their story to do what's right. Police sirens wailed in the distance. More arrests, probably. Riley's having a girl, I said. I know. She called me last week. Wants me to be part of the baby's life, but only if I promise to keep Gunnar away. He smiled sadly. First grandchild, and this is how it happens. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom's number. How dare you let this happen to your family, after everything we've done for you? I deleted it without responding. I have an appointment next month, I said, showing Dad the IVF schedule. To try for my own baby. Alone? Independent, I corrected. There's a difference. He nodded slowly. Your mother used to say, family helps family, but she meant family serves family. Serves her. I see that now. Better late than never. Would you let me know? How the treatments go? I studied him. This man who'd failed me so many times, but was finally choosing differently. You can start by buying me coffee, I said. I have a lot of paperwork to review. As we walked to the cafe across the street, my phone lit up one last time. A message from Riley. Found out today she's definitely a girl. Thinking of naming her Phoebe. Hope that's okay. Strong names make strong women. I smiled, tucking the phone away. The autumn air was crisp, full of possibilities. Somewhere across town, my brother and mother were learning about consequences. Somewhere in Portland, my niece was growing, already named for strength, and here, in this moment, I was exactly where I needed to be. Not running, not hiding, not sacrificing, just living, on my own terms. Dad held the cafe door open. Ready? Yes, I said. I think I finally am.